This is the video for Battenberg cake. So I've weighed up in the ingredients already. In a mixing bowl I have marvello, butter and sugar, and they are all room temperature, so they are ready to mix. I have flour and baking powder that has been sieved 3 times. I have 8 shelled eggs which are warming up in a bowl of warm water. I've also put my almond essence into there as well. I have 2 fresh bowls, and I have red colouring and yellow food colouring as well. Prior to starting, I have prepared a tray. So this is a 3rd sized tray which I have lined with paper. So I cut a square out and then I cut 4 lengths to go around the outside. I also cut an extra length and I'm going to place that in the middle to divide the 2 colours of sponges. I've just measured the tray and torn the paper so I know exactly where halfway is, like so. Make sure that you do use a 3rd tray. The half trays are slightly larger. You need one that is the slightly thinner size and a slightly taller size as well. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to cream together the fats and the sugar. I'm going to put that on speed 1 to start with, just to combine all the ingredients, and then once they are combined I'm going to turn it up to speed 2 so we can start to aerate the mixture. During the mixing process you will need to regularly scrape down the side of the bowl. So just with a spatula, scrape down any bits of the mixture that has stuck to the side. You will notice that some bits will be lighter than others. The bits that aren't as light are the bits that need to be mixed in. So once the mixture starts to get lighter in colour, it means that the air is being beaten into the mix. We need to just have a quick look at it. You will see that it has become a lot lighter. And a lot lighter and fluffier texture. The colour is a really good indication of this. So I'm just going to scrape it down again, just to make sure there's no lumps. So now we can put it back onto the mixer and start adding our eggs. It is important to make sure that your eggs are 21 degrees. If they're too cold, they will not mix in properly. And then we can start to add them slowly. So a little bit at a time. Let the liquid mix in. Once the mix has combined, you can add another amount. We do this slowly so that the mix does not split. So this is the egg and the almond essence mixed in together. Once you're about halfway through your eggs, we can scrape down the bowl again. We will get mix stuck to the side, which needs to be incorporated. So give the bowl a good scrape. Any lumps that are stuck to the paddle as well, just get those off. This will ensure a nice consistent texture. We don't want to get any lumps in here. So once you have added the last bit of egg, we'll let it mix. Now will be time to add the flour. So you'll need a metal spoon and your flour and baking powder mix. So once all the liquid is combined, you should have a nice smooth texture. If it has split, then during the mix, then you can add a couple of tablespoons or a couple of spoons of the flour mix, and that will bring it back. But try not to over mix it, because that will change the texture of the final product, which we want to avoid. So just scrape off all of the bowl and all of the paddle. Everything together, and then we are going to mix in the dry ingredients, the flour and the baking powder, in 3 stages. So I'm going to add a third, and just fold it through with a metal spoon. The reason we do this is not to overdevelop the gluten. So once the flour goes in, it will activate the gluten and it will start to develop. If we were to do this on the machine, it would work the flour too much and we will get elasticated gluten, which will give us a dense end product. So 3 stages, I've added the dry ingredients. Folding in quite carefully. I don't want to beat it, I just want to fold it together until I get a cake batter. We need to make sure that all the flour is mixed in. We don't want any flour lumps. Once we've done that, we are going to colour the mix half pink and half yellow. So, once we have a mixture like that, which is nice and combined, we are ready to colour it. So with our 2 clean bowls, we are going to divide the mix in half. So put the bowl on, tare to 0. Approximately half in there. The other half into here. And make sure that you have an equal amount in both bowls. And get as much as you can out of the mixing bowl as well. We don't want anything left. So I have an equal amount in each bowl now. What I will do next is add our colouring. Just add a little bit of yellow into the one. And a little bit of red or pink into the other. If you are using red, use it sparingly because we only want pastel shade. We don't want bright colours. And then we mix them together until we get a consistent colour. Make sure that we have no traces of pink, it just needs to be a consistent pink all the way through. As you can see at the moment there are traces through it. We're going to try to get rid of all of those. Once we've got to that stage, we can place it straight into the prepared tin. Then on the prepared tin, on one side we place the pink, and then I'll follow the same process with the yellow. So I've followed the same process with the yellow sponge as well now, which the colour has mixed in consistently, there is no streaks. And we're just looking for pastel colours, so not strong colours. And then after this, we're just going to use a step palette knife to spread the mix evenly. So it needs to be a consistent thickness all the way around. So take your time to get this right. If it is inconsistent thicknesses, it will produce waste, which we don't want. Just making sure that your piece of paper is halfway in the middle. One side completely flat and consistent before you start moving on to the other. And if you think you've done it and you're not quite sure, the best way to check is to just get down on eye level and have a look across it. So that looks pretty good, so I'm going to move on to the pink side now. And then once it is all even and consistent, we can bake this in an oven at 170 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. And we need to check it in the oven by giving it a little press to make sure it springs back, or you could use a plain knife, small one, just to pop in the middle, pull it out. If it comes out clean, then it is ready.